Welcome back, Goober. I analyzed 192 kills by two different pro players to figure out definitively how and when should you crouch during gunfights. After performing this little study of mine, the results have irreversibly altered the way I think about crouching despite having 5,000 hours in Counter-Strike and being level 10. Now after watching this video, I'm hoping that I can rearrange some of those little screws within your brain and make you think about crouching in a completely different way, and also make you a better Counter-Strike player. Before I try to do that to you, thank you to SkinsMonkey for sponsoring this video. SkinsMonkey is a trusted automated CS2 trading site. It's super easy to use. All you have to do is pick something in your inventory, check how much it's worth, and then go get something new from the monkey. What's also super nice is the filters you can use to narrow down your searches. You can either use your skins to trade for new ones or deposit money with their 30% bonus offer. This becomes 35% when you use my code Wilson. Please use it. Using my code, you can also get up to $5 for free. Use my code Wilson, link is in the description. The first question I wanted to answer was, how much should you crouch in CS2? So I posted a poll on the community tab asking my viewers how often they crouch. I was honestly surprised that only 20% of people said they almost always crouch in fights. I thought that would be a much bigger number. And I was also surprised that 11% of people say they rarely crouch during gunfights. So 1 in 10 people barely ever crouch. That seems like a lot. Somebody also commented that Elige is bald, which I thought you might find interesting. Now, a poll from my community doesn't give us a solid answer on how often you should crouch in gunfights, but it is an interesting starting point. So let's figure out how much you should be crouching. And to do this, I wanted to look at the person who has revolutionized the way we think about movement within CS2, Donk. So I watched 4 Donk demos where he combined to get 96 kills. I watched every single kill over and over again so I could jot down the details of his crouching habits in this spreadsheet right here behind me. With this data, I'm going to expose the truth about crouching. Out of the 96 kills that Donk got in those 4 demos, he crouched for 68 of them. A whopping 70% of his kills included his crouch button. That's definitely a big proportion, but I don't think anybody would be super shocked by it. In fact, 70% is in line with the most popular response to my poll, that being the majority. However, while watching Donk play, I started to notice a pretty consistent pattern with his crouching. Whenever he had an easy kill, one where his opponent wasn't looking at him, or he has an easy trade, or his opponent is reloading, you get it, he wouldn't crouch. It felt so consistent, so I rewatched all 96 kills and noted any easy kills. If we take away the easy kills, along with other situations where there's just no reason to crouch, such as headshot angles, first bullet kills on clears, or pistol rounds, then we're left with 60 kills. Now get this, 58 of these kills included the crouch button. Only 2 didn't. When Donk wasn't on a pistol round, wasn't on a headshot angle, wasn't presented a free kill, and didn't first bullet kill somebody on a clear, he would crouch in 97% of his fights. Now, this approach with the statistics is obviously not perfect, but I think it does illustrate the point that for Donk, it's not so much when should you crouch during fights, but more so when should you not. When you watch him, crouching feels like the default, whereas standing kills feel more purposeful. So I thought it'd be good to do the same experiment with another professional player so that we could compare them to Donk. I wanted to find another fragger, but one who is pretty different from Donk. So I landed on a player who is 10 years older, from an entirely different region, and is also known for their mechanics. Elige. So I did the exact same experiment with Elige. I watched 3 demos, counting 96 kills in total. I expected Elige to crouch less than Donk. Donk revolutionized how crouching is used in CS2, and Elige had many years of playing CSGO where I would argue people crouched less overall. However, the results proved me wrong. Out of those 96 kills, Elige crouched for 79 of them. That's a little over 82% of his kills that included the crouch button. That was 12% more than Donk. Let's do the same, no pistols, no headshot angles, no first bullet kills on clears, and no easy kills, filtering on Elige's kills. When we do this, we get 65 kills total, And for these, in 62 of them, he crouches. Only 3 out of 65 of these kills does Elige not crouch. So despite it seeming like Elige crouches much more than Donk, I would say in real gunfights, they crouch at a pretty similar rate, being almost always. The biggest difference between their overall crouching numbers is that Elige crouched for most of his easy kills, whereas Donk didn't. So there's your answer. For 50-50 gunfights, I guess we should crouch almost always? But I think saying that is somewhat misleading because we need to know how to crouch. Is Elige or is Donk holding the crouch button up until the moment that they die or their opponent dies? Are they tapping the crouch button? How are they using the crouch button to win these gunfights? Wait. There we go. For every single of the 192 kills total between Donk and Elige in these Face It demos I observed, I recorded whether they committed to the crouch button in the gunfight, whether they just tapped it, or whether it was a mix of both. A tap is where the player obviously just very briefly taps the crouch button, or they hold it long enough for their player model to go all the way down in the crouch animation, but they let go of it before they even finish the fight with their opponent. A crouch commit, in my mind, is they're committing to the crouch button until their opponent is dead. So those are the kind of definitions of those two terms and what we're working with. I thought we'd see a ton of crouch commits from Donk. I mean, the Donk slide is named after him, and that is an inherently committal type of crouch. However, Elige actually committed to crouches more than twice the amount of Donk. 49 of Elige's kills were crouch commits, whereas only 20 of Donk's were. Elige Donk slid so much. That's what makes up most of these crouch commits, is just him donk sliding. Whereas Donk kind of rarely donk slid. He donk slid in certain moments, but his donk slides looked much more purposeful. He would more so use donk slides to adjust angles, to open angles up, or to close angles. For example, here in this round, he swings top mid, he's overexposed to 2 players, and instead of tapping crouch or just crouching, he donk slides backwards to close the angle and to isolate the fight with just the one player who's closer to him. In this example too, where he overswings market window as he sees his opponent, he crouches and donk slides backwards in order to open the angle up to make this fight more comfortable for him. So if Donk wasn't donk sliding for most of his kills, then what was he doing? Well, he would just tap the crouch button, which when Donks, really came on the scene and people started talking about him, they talked about his peak, how he would tap the crouch button during his peak and whatnot. But I don't think people really realized or took in that this is his default. This is his norm. When he takes a fight with somebody, he taps the crouch button. That's what he does. And when I watch people play level 10s or whatnot, not a lot of people do this. Not a lot of people just insta tap the crouch button when they take, an unexpected fight or just a normal fight. I feel like most people either commit to crouches or don't crouch. Not many people just tap the crouch button like Donk does. So in fights where Donk used the crouch button, 63% of them were just taps, whereas only 30% were actual crouch commits or, donk slides. So in the end, how should what we've looked at affect our gameplay? Well, I think we've learned that crouching a lot is good. Crouching can make you harder to hit while also making you more accurate. Secondly, we learned that there's not really an objective best way to crouch during gunfights, as we saw Elige commit to more crouches and donk slide a lot, while we saw Donk tap the crouch button a lot. However, there does seem to be one way that both of these players avoided, and that would be a committed crouch without any movement involved with it. And I think when people say they crouch too much or that they panic crouch, this is what they're talking about. Just an immediate crouch into my finger is 1,000 pounds stuck onto the control button. I am not uncrouching until the moment I die or I kill everybody. Stop doing this. If you have this habit, I would take the Donk approach of forcing yourself into tapping the crouch button instead of committing to it. Lastly, be purposeful about when you're not crouching. Both Donk and Elige had a tendency to crouch significantly less on kills when using pistols, fighting on headshot angles, clears, and given easy kills. Don't unnecessarily force yourself to crouch in these situations. Well, there you go. I hope your perspective on crouching has been irreversibly changed, like mine has. Thank you for watching this video. Scrolling on the screen right now are my channel members. They help support me and let me be a goober on the internet. If you want to help support me be a goober on the internet, there's a join button down below where you too can become a channel member. Please subscribe, like the video and whatnot. Join my Discord, it's in the description. Have a great day and good luck and have fun in all of your future games. Peace out.